The trade deadline is officially over, and the Seattle Mariners were one of the most active teams on the trade market, and they undoubtedly got better, and I want to talk about it. So today we're going to go over all 4 of their trades from this year. Hi, my name is Jake from Raise the Trident. I appreciate you stopping by. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to me. It helps me out a lot. I'm trying to reach 500 by at least mid-August, so you can help me out there. Smash that subscribe button. You can also like the video as well. But today I'm going to go in chronological order for all 4 of the trades that the Mariners made this trade deadline, so let's not beat around the bush and get right into it. The first move was arguably the biggest move that they made at this trade deadline, is where we sent prospects Aiden Smith and Brody Hopkins to the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for Randy Arozarena. Now, Randy Arozarena is not necessarily a name I feel like I need to introduce to you. He is a household name across the whole MLB at this point, and he's had a really good career. He has been in the major leagues since 2019. He started with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he's played the last 4.5 seasons in Tampa Bay. His whole career has a slash line of 257, 346, 443 for a 125 WRC plus. So he is a above league average bat, and he was also the rookie of the year in 2021. So he is definitely a special talent to acquire this trade deadline. Now, this year hasn't exactly been going the best for Randy Arozarena. He is coming into the team with a slash line of 219, 323, 404 for a 112 WRC plus. Now, it is an above league average bat, so I'm not going to complain too much. Now, people will see the batting average of 219 and immediately think, wow, he's having a down year. Why would you want to get that guy? Here's exactly why you would want to get that guy. First of all, the batting average doesn't tell the whole story, and 112 WRC plus is going to be one of the better bats on our team thus far. And since June, he has been one of the hottest bats in the whole league. Since June 1st, he is slashing 375, 444, 625 for a 205 WRC plus. You heard that right, 205 WRC plus since June 1st. But let's look at the underlying numbers. Of course, we're going to look at Baseball Savant here and look at some of these bubbles. Now, a couple things that are a bit down are his expected batting average and his K percentage. So he is striking out, but ultimately, who isn't in this Mariners lineup at this point? But the things that you do like to see, he's average or above average in your hard hit type stats like average exit velocity, barrels, and his chase rate's really good, and he is highest and elite in walk percentage. As far as sprays chart goes, he is mainly a pull side hitter. He is a righty, so he's going to be hitting a lot of his balls to left field, but he does have that potential opposite field power to put it out to left if need be. And you can see it if you watch him play. He is not going to get stifled by the marine layer at all. He has the potential power to put it out whenever he wants. As far as what pitches he does well against, he has been, okay this year off of fastballs and breaking balls, but he has been struggling a bit with off-speed pitches. Defensively, he is an okay outfielder. He is serviceable. He does at times make the flashy play. The first thing that comes to mind is the home run robbery in the World Baseball Classic last year for Team Mexico. So he does have that in him as well. So we could see a robbery trying to save a home run going into the bullpen or Edgar's Cantina this year. But another great thing about the Arozarena trade is that we are going to have him through 2026. He is still in arbitration right now. So we're going to have him for the next 3 runs at the postseason and hopefully in the postseason. But he is making $8.1 million this year. So he's going to be, one of the more expensive arbitration players, but having him through 2026 is a really nice get for this front office. And as far as what they gave up, they gave up 2 really good minor leaguers in Aiden Smith and Brody Hopkins, but this is one of those moves that you need to make if you want to win now and if you want to win the division this year. But there's a couple things just outside of just his batting profile and who he is as a player now that I want to talk about, and part of that is his personality. He is very clearly a really fun, nice personality and a spark plug for the clubhouse that he's about to go into with the Seattle Mariners. We know he is friends with Julio Rodriguez and sometimes works out with him during the offseason, so there's already a bit of chemistry there. And when it comes to the postseason, Randy is called Playoff Randy for a reason, and he absolutely shows up when the lights are brightest. Now, if the Mariners do make the postseason, they're going to have a Randy Arozarena who has a career slash line in the postseason of 336, 414, 690 for a 199 WRC plus, and that's 113 ABs. That's not just one postseason. The dude absolutely crushes the ball when it comes to October. So he's a really nice piece in that front too to have for this team when you're fighting for a division, for a potential wild card spot. If you don't get the division, once you get into the postseason, you know he can be an absolute weapon. So as far as the whole Randy Arozarena trade, I am going to give that specific trade an A grade. You gave up some good prospects, but you traded for one of the best bats that went in this trade deadline, and arguably probably the best bat, unless you want to, you know, argue about Isaac Paredes being that best bat, which, you know, by stats wise this year, sure, but Arozarena, I really love this deal. I love that they got this done and that Randy is going to be a Mariner for the next few years. That feels pretty damn good. Going on to this next deal, the one that I think was an absolute steal. From the Toronto Blue Jays, we sent Jonathan Clase and prospect Jacob Sharp to Toronto for right-handed reliever Yimi García. Some fans may not know Yimi García off the bat. He's not a, you know, Johan Duran. He's not a Felix Bautista, but he is a really good reliever this year. He is 33 years old. He's been in the league since 2014. He has a career 3.51 ERA, but this year he has been slinging the ball really well in 33 innings pitched. He has a 2.45 ERA, 45 strikeouts, and a 0.76 whip. He did find himself on the injured list this year with a right elbow ulnar neuritis, which means the ulnar nerve in his arm was either compressed or irritated. That could be a problem in the future. Hopefully it won't, but since he's been back, he has been pitching very well. And if you look at his underlying numbers, once again, looking at the Savant bubbles, he's technically not fully qualified yet, but the preliminary numbers are looking really good. He is hitting barrels a bit, and he's a bit under average for things like exit velocity, but otherwise he's a lot of red there. He is elite in chase, K percentage, expecting batting average. He's well above average in things like whiff, fastball velo, and hard hit rate. He has a really good fastball with a batting average against of 100 and a slugging percentage against of 240. So people are not hitting his fastball, and that is what he pitches most. And he has on his fastball a 32.7% whiff rate. That is really good for a four-seam. His curveball and his sinker have been getting hit around, but he does have a good sweeper and changeup, and his slider has been good, but in very limited quantities. So I'd imagine probably going to tick back that curveball and sinker usage, really use the fastball a lot, hopefully, you know, find a way to play the changeup and the sweeper off of that. I will say the one big downside in Yimi García is that he is a pure rental. He is a free agent next year. This year he's making $5.5 million, so you can imagine it's going to be a bit up next year. Hopefully the Mariners re-sign him. Obviously it's a bummer to only have him for these next 2 months, but he is going to be really helpful in this very depleted and beat up bullpen. Just today against the Boston Red Sox, Gregory Santos went back down with what appears to be a bicep injury, so he can't stay healthy, and it's just not been great for the bullpen almost all year when it comes to injuries and luck in that regard. So Yimi García is going to be a really nice guy to be that 1-2 with Andres Munoz. You can pretty much interchange them when it comes to using them in high leverage situations. So really good get. And then when you think about who you gave to the Blue Jays, Jonathan Clase, you know, good prospect. Don't think there was any room for him on the roster here. I don't think he wasn't really going to get anything done. And Jacob Sharp is a catcher in like high A, so, you know, not necessarily someone you're going to lose sleep over. So I actually give the Yimi García trade for Jonathan Clase and Jacob Sharp an A+. I think you absolutely robbed the Toronto Blue Jays, and part of that grade is also looking at the other trades for relievers that the Padres made for Tanner Scott, and look at what they gave the Miami Marlins. They gave up a lot of really good prospects, and you really didn't. The next trade is probably the most divisive trade out of all four of them. It is going to be where we sent prospect RJ Shrek to the Toronto Blue Jays again for Justin Turner. Now, Justin Turner is also a really big name and a long tenured name in the major leagues. He made his debut in 2009 Brother is 39 years old, so he is, has a world of experience. He played on those really good Dodgers teams at the end of the 2010s. He is a ring bearer of the 2020 World Series champions, and he was, I believe, an NLCS MVP, I think in 2017, I want to say. So he knows how to play in the postseason. 2024, he has been just above league average bat. He is slashing 255, 347, 369 for a 109 WRC plus. He is currently playing first base and DH mainly with the Mariners. I'd imagine he's going to be playing a lot of first base. But let's look at the underlying numbers for Justin Turner. His power is down this year. He is not going to be a huge power threat, and the stats show you that his hard hit type numbers are very much down to the point where, you can't really expect too many homers. Above average to elite in your on base type stats like K percentage, walk percentage. He does not whiff much and he does not chase much, which is a really good fit for this lineup. You need that guy who is going to get on base. He is not going to just strike out with runners in scoring position all the time, and he is going to put the ball in play. It may not be for a 420-foot home run, but he's going to put the ball in play. We were starting to see that a little bit with some of his most recent games, or his first couple games as a Mariner, being able to find some grass or hit that, ground ball to the right-hand side of the infield to score that guy from third. It's just a bat that we needed in this lineup. You need that veteran guy who can just put the ball in play. As far as his spray chart goes, he is definitely a pull hitter for sure, which could be a bit of a problem for T-Mobile with his hard hit issues. He could get dampered a bit with the marine layer as far as getting it into the bullpen or Edgar's porch. As far as what he's good against pitch type wise, he's hitting very well against fastballs, a 262 batting average against those, and even better against off-speed pitches with a 278 batting average. So he is worse against breaking balls, but it's really good that he has, both fastballs and off-speed pitches. He has those locked down pretty well. As far as his contract goes, he is being paid $13 million this year, and it was only a one-year deal, so he is a free agent next year. So just like Yimi García, he is a pure rental. You are only going to have him for these next 2 months and hopefully October. Outside of the numbers for Justin Turner, obviously veteran presence is the big thing you need to talk about with Justin Turner. He has been in the league for a long time, and he hopefully can have a bit of that Carlos Santana type vibe with this clubhouse, having that guy who's been there, done that, who can really help a lot of these younger guys that we have on this roster keep making that push into September to try to win this division and get into the postseason. And when he gets into the postseason, Justin Turner has been really good. His career numbers in the postseason, he's been there 9 times. He's slashing 270, 370, 460 for a 128 WRC plus. Like I said, been there, done that with the postseason. So he would be a really good tool to have if we make it into October. So really like this deal. I would say though, I'm going to grade it a B, mainly because Justin Turner's a nice bat to have, and like I said, there is certain parts of his game that fit this lineup well, especially his, just getting the ball in play portion of his game. But it's just more of a, I guess, underwhelming type deal. At this time, we were still trying to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We're trying to get the Blue Jays to budge from him, and we just couldn't. And the Justin Turner deal, when that happened, kind of felt like the nail in the coffin. That's really what signaled to all the fans that the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. deal was not gonna happen. But I give it a B, which is probably more than some people would give, just because you didn't really give up anything. I mean, you gave up RJ Schreck, who I believe was in Everett at the time, so in high A. So it felt like, relative to what you gave up, really good bat to just have in the lineup to help you out. And he did help you out in the first couple games that he played as a Mariner in Boston, and hopefully he can keep that going. The last trade, which occurred on the deadline day, and probably the least notable one, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, was with the Miami Marlins. We sent prospect Will Schoenberg to them for reliever JT Chargois. He is a 33-year-old reliever. He actually was a Seattle Mariner in 2021. His 2024 numbers look pretty good. 16.2 innings pitched, a 1.62 ERA, a 1.32 whip, and 12 strikeouts. But a lot of his underlying numbers don't look great. He has lots of blue on his Savant page. The main one I wanted to point out was his expected ERA of 5.21. So I think he's maybe been getting a bit lucky, or he just hasn't been in those really high leverage situations. I don't really know how he's been being used in Miami, but as far as his pitch mix goes, I mean, his slider, that's pretty good. It does have an under 200 batting average against. So I would imagine they're going to try to tick that up a bit in usage, because he's using his sinker a lot. Pitch he's using the most, and it's just not good. Hitters are hitting 286 off of it and slugging 486. So I think they need to have him not pitch that very often at all. And when he was with the Mariners, and I was listening to Locked On Mariners, shout out to them for, you know, kind of giving a bit of a backstory on JT Chargois. I guess we used to use him as more of a bridge piece between the rotation and the bullpen. So he had a lot of success doing that. Hopefully that's all they do this time around. As far as contract goes, he's making $1.2 million this year. We do have him with club control through next year. So if we do choose to keep him, we can still have him for next year. And, you know, it's really not the most notable thing to talk about, JT Chargois. I mean, hopefully he can help out the bullpen. They certainly need some help right now with all their injuries. Obviously, the underlying numbers give me a bit of pause when it comes to, you know, really knowing if that's a good deal or not. But you gave up Will Schoenberg. I never even heard of him before then. So, you know, it is what it is. You need a bullpen arm. Fine. I'll give it a C, because it's like middle of the road. It just feels like not very notable to me. So overall, when talking about this trade deadline and taking in all into account here, what would I grade the Mariners trade deadline entirely? And for me, I would give it a B. I would give it a solid B. And the reason I'm going to say that is because they made a couple good moves in Randy Arozarena and Yimi García. They made an okay move in Justin Turner. I mean, they're both above league average bats, and Yimi García is certainly another high leverage bullpen piece that you sorely needed. And also, in comparison to what the Houston Astros did and the Texas Rangers did, I think you did a hell of a lot better than they did. The Houston Astros had a mind-boggling trade for Yusei Kikuchi, where they sent away some of their big prospects, including Joey Loperfido, who was already kind of contributing a bit at the major league level, for Yusei Kikuchi, who is like a 4.5, almost 5 ERA, and he's been struggling a lot as of late. In comparison to them, I think you did a whole lot more than them to try to hopefully jump them in the standings and win this division, because this is the year to do it. This is absolutely the year to try to win the division. Now, are there things they could have done more? Absolutely. Now, I'm not going to bring up guys that didn't get dealt at all, like a Yandy Diaz or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I understand why people might be frustrated with that. But when talking about guys that did get dealt, I do think Ahmed Rosario would have been a really good tool to pick up, especially if JP, you know, he's going to be out for at least another month. And if he comes back and continues hitting how he was, which was below league average, Ahmed Rosario would have been a nice guy to just be able to rely on. And, you know, he would have probably been around league average for a bat, and this lineup sorely needs that. But that's going to be it for this trade deadline recap, I guess, or this analysis here. I would love to know what you guys think about the trade deadline. You can comment down below. You can like the video as well. Subscribe to me. It helps me out a lot. I appreciate you if you watch through this whole video. Thank you so much. That's going to be it for me in this one, and I will see you in the next.